Welcome to another episode of Plastic Surgery Uncensored. I'm your host, Dr. Rahban, and we are live from my new office. As you can see, I've upgraded my previous podcast. If you're listening, well, then you won't know what I'm talking about. If you're watching, then you'll see a little bit of an upgrade. At any rate, we're super excited about today's show. We're going to be chatting about the basics. We're going to do the A to Z of what it takes to do plastic surgery or cosmetic surgery. We're going to use the mommy makeover journey, but it really applies to all plastic surgeries. I'm really lucky. You're really lucky. We are joined by Eleanor, a patient of mine who I very much love and enjoy her energy. She's smart and she's going to help us navigate this, because at the end of the day, while I can give you my thoughts and they are helpful, at the end of the day, you want to know what it's like as a patient. And of course, I've never been a patient, definitely not of my own experience. So, Eleanor, welcome to the show and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Dr. Rahban. Your new office is beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. You were telling me that you're in the process of fixing your own office and you felt a little bit perhaps, oh, I'm sorry, your office looks fantastic. It looks amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. We've just relocated to Seattle from the Bay Area of California.
All right.
I'm partially furnished in my office.
You're moving further and further north. The next time you and I talk, you'll be in Vancouver and moving up the Western Hemisphere. All right. So let's dive in and just give some background, because I think it's always important so people who are listening and watching know who you are and what's going on. So if I'm not mistaken, tell me a little about yourself. You're 51, kids, etc. Tell me what's going on.
I'm 51 years old. I'm a speech language pathologist. And when I saw you for surgery, I was living in San Jose, California, since moved to Seattle. I'm married. We have two daughters. They're now 23 and almost 20.
Amazing.
And yeah.
Wonderful. And so you, after having two children, living your life, being around 50 at the time, decided, you know what, I'm at a point in my life, and I'm going to ask you what that point was because I think it's important, that I want to make a more dramatic change in the way I look and feel. And as a result, began to consider using plastic surgery as a tool, basically, to improve or enhance your life. So the first question I want to ask you is, why now? So many of my patients seek the surgery that you had. And what surgery did we do?
We did a mommy makeover. So I had a breast lift with a reduction and an abdominoplasty.
Right. So in your instance, interesting enough, and we'll touch about that separately, we did a lift reduction without an implant. And people ask all the time, because implants are obviously a tool that sometimes does or doesn't need to be used. They're in the news all the time. They're controversial. And we'll talk about why we did that or didn't do that. So you decided that you wanted to do a mommy makeover. And a lot of my patients who do this particular procedure, and it doesn't matter what it is, often do this whether kids are young, right? They're 38 years old and their kids are 4 and 6, or, they're 41 or 28 or whatever it is. But you chose to do this at 50, which just goes to underscore there is no right time. Nobody says that, oh, a mommy makeover needs to be done from da-da-da-da. Why then and why now and not then? Or how did you pick this time? What was the events that came together that led you to do it now?
I think I thought about it over the years. So I had my children fairly young. I had Catherine when I was 28 and Rebecca when I was 31. But when I think hitting 50, Dr. Rahban, hit me hard. And I think it was that time in my life, and the girls were away at college, and I had some time for myself finally. And I think I'm always someone who's taken care of myself. I've exercised and eaten healthy and tried to maintain a weight, that your weight creeps up on you as you get older a little bit. But I wanted to feel on the outside as young and healthy as I felt on the inside. And it seemed like a good time. I had a little bit of a break with work, and the girls were older and out of the house. And it was a time to do something for me. I think often as women, especially as mothers, we give to everybody else all the time. And it felt like the right time to put myself first.
I love it. So what you're highlighting is the fact that there is no right time. and that for every patient, the time that they choose to do it is a time that seemed best for them. Whether that is time, meaning I had time off work, my kids were in vacation, I got help, I had the money, I felt my situation had gotten severe enough where it was bothering me, and your timing was no different than everybody else's, which is it's a sum total of all those things. And what I like about your story is that we did it later, and many times people think that that's too late and that I should not worry about my body. Like, oh, I'm 50. I need to worry about my face. And there is no such thing. The ship has never sailed. I've done mommy makeovers, which frankly is just a term, on women that are in their 60s. It doesn't really matter. Bottom line is it's a time in which you think that I'm ready. So that takes care of that. So you lived up north, and this is to be a common theme on our show because I'm blessed that so many of my patients travel to come see me. And I love that because it's a great respect, because even though it's easy to get plastic surgery done, it isn't easy to get plastic surgery done locally. It's even that much more difficult to go elsewhere to do it, because there's additional finances, there's additional headaches, right? If you're at San Jose, you go down 2 miles, 5 miles, you get the surgery done, you're back in your own house. Here you got to be in an Airbnb or hotel or whatnot. So there is definitely advantages to doing it locally. So I am grateful that so many people seek me, and I feel very honored that they would select me. But so you did the same. This was obviously prior to moving to Seattle. And so the next question that I always ask patients, and this is why we're talking about the generalities. So there was a trigger. That trigger is the collision of all these right elements. And that said, now sounds good. So you had that nidus, and then you're like, all right, hunker down. Let me pick a doctor. And there is, my girlfriend went to Dr. Smith, as simple as that, to more complicated, more involved, more research-oriented. So you tend to be a very research-driven individual. You're very astute in that regard. You don't take things lightly. You're not just going to do it just because, which happens to be the case with most of my patients. I think people who travel to go have surgery clearly have done a lot of homework because they obviously went through everyone local. And by definition, now they're seeking people outside their local area. So tell me what you think are the key components to your research and the things that you think people are out there like, yeah, I want to do this. What should they be doing? What should they be paying attention to?
That's a great question. And you're right. It is logistically and financially a little more of a commitment to go outside of your city. But I wanted the best surgeon and the best experience and the best outcome. So I started my research online, like all of us do now, on Google, looking for reviews, looking at surgeons' websites, and seeing before and after photos and doing all of that. And you can go pretty deep and you can find a lot of information online. After I narrowed down the surgeons that I wanted to see, I booked consultations. So you and I talked before. You were my last consultation. I did 6 in-person consultations. The best for last, Dr. Rahban.
We love being last. And the reason we love being last is because a person has a very good point of reference by the time they come to us. They can perhaps appreciate more the extra stuff because they now know what others do, as opposed to when you come first to us, often you don't know any different and you circle back. So you had done 6 consults, right? In person, not
in person.
Right.
In-person consultations.
And I'm assuming that wasn't cheap, right?
No, it wasn't. And I don't regret doing any of it. I think to find a quality surgeon, you will pay. I think anyone who is offering you a free consultation is likely not the person you'd want to choose. So that there is a cost. And I think when you think about your surgery and the cost of the surgery itself and whatever else you need to make that happen, I think you factor in the consultation fees as part of it. I don't think there is a replacement for meeting your surgeon face-to-face in person and doing that consultation.
So I love that you said that. I'm a stickler about this concept. I think that this is a very, very interesting area. So as you know, if you hired a lawyer they're going to charge you to sit down with them and talk to them. Nobody would even think twice. Whether it's inexpensive or expensive determines on many factors. But I've never met a lawyer who's going to sit down with you and just chat with you for nothing. A plumber is not going to just come for nothing, right? Your accountant's not going to come for nothing. Your pool man doesn't come for nothing. I got a guy that comes and cleans my fountains. He doesn't come for nothing. So the idea or the notion that a plastic surgeon who is trained for umpteen number of years is going to sit down with you and give you quality information for free still blows my mind away. And so when people call, they're like, what do you mean he charges? Yeah, he charges. Of course he charges. He's going to sit down with you. He's going to take his time. He's going to analyze you. He's going to share his knowledge, and he's going to give you one set of advice and opinion in which you can add to your other things. And as a result, you can make a better, more informed decision. I want you to tell me if you think the time we spent together, the almost hour in which I looked at your breasts and dissected your information and your medical conditions and analysis and thoughts or whatever, would be nearly the same if you didn't pay me $1 and I saw you for like 10, 15 minutes. Honestly.
Not even close. Not even close. So then you were, out of all the consultations I did, absolutely the most thorough.
So as you should be. I mean, for the love of God, you're coming in, you're like, hey, would you cut me open and sew me back together? And by the way, I want to look really great. Yeah, sure. Give me about 10 minutes and I'll tell you everything there is to know. What do you mean? It takes 10 minutes to tell us a story, let alone examine you, ask you questions, and give you knowledge. So I am still so shocked because my colleagues want your business. So the way this works, so you understand, for those of you listening, I can charge you nothing. You can come in and see me for consultation. My office would be brimming with people. Like, I wouldn't even know what to do with you. But there's a catch to this. You know what the catch is? I can talk to you for no more than 10 minutes. My nurse is going to come in. She's going to ask you a bunch of questions. I'm going to walk in. I'm going to examine you. I'm going to tell you exactly what you're going to need. I'm going to get the hell out because I got 30 more of those to do because no one's paying me $1. And then you can decide if you want to do it or not. It's free. Great news. You didn't lose anything, but you also didn't get anything. Instead, we limit ourselves to 6 to 7 consults in an entire day, each about an hour, where I spend my energy in trying to analyze you. And then you get my truest opinion, which may be, don't do it. Or that thing that guy said is not a good idea. Or your hernia is going to be a problem. Or, hey, you have this medical condition? Not a good idea. You need your other doctors to clear you, yada, yada. So I am still so flabbergasted that people call our office today in the world we live in, and we charge $500, which, by the way, goes towards your surgery. Like, it's technically free if you decide to use it. And they're like, $500? Why the hell would I pay $500? Everybody else is doing it for free. Okay, go tell me what you get for free. Because I can assure you it ain't going to be me. And you went to consults, right? What do they charge you on average on your consults?
Anywhere between $300 and $600, I would say. And I was doing consults with board-certified plastic surgeons. I had some, you stood out in stark contrast to a number of them. The first consult I did, the surgeon didn't lay a hand on me. So the nurse came in, measured me, and he just looked at me. So there was actually no physical exam component to it. And that was my first consultation. I didn't have a frame of reference for it. And the other ones were different. But that one, as I think back to it now,
crazy, right?
Shocking.
Right? Asinine that you were going into a doctor's office to have surgery. That plastic surgeon actually never examined your breast or your abdomen physically. In other words, is just staring at you going, all right, that's what you need. So crazy. And so the other so we charge what is reasonable. I have colleagues of mine that are general surgeons, OBGYNs, or my wife's had 6 spine surgery. The average cost for a consultation is $800 to $1,500 for an hour of any professional's time. We charge $500 because we never want people who can't afford, like it's under a lot of pressure, to feel so pressured that they can't. And we really strongly believe that if you come to our office and you give us an opportunity to explain things to you, we feel wholeheartedly that you'll understand that this is a good place maybe not exactly for you, but so we don't want to make it $1,000. But $500 to see a guy and spend an hour with you and really give you analysis is not outrageous at all. So
Worth every penny. Worth every penny.
So good for you, because the reality is that you don't want to go to just one guy because you can't afford the consults. What if that person, like, you don't know shit from Cheyenne, right? So you did 6 consults. The first one was like, he didn't touch you. You didn't know any better. And then by the time you got to me, you're like, whoa, that was odd. You wouldn't have known that had you not done many consults, right?
You learn with each one. And I think you educate yourself as a patient, and then you can really identify the surgeon who is going to be the best fit and give you the best outcome.
So tell me a little about these other consults. I've actually never had a long, in-depth discussion with a patient regarding other consults because, of course, naturally, I only know mine. So you had the one where they didn't examine you, the nurse came in. That's quite common. Tell me what other things you saw in these other consults as compared to, say, the way we did it.
And I think with that first one where the doctor didn't examine me, I went afterwards to the office with the patient care coordinator, and I asked her for before and after photos. And she said to me, "We don't have any. That's not what we do." And and it was shocking. And they had no booklets. They had nothing on the website. So there were no before and after photos.
Okay.
So then I knew that was off the list.
Okay.
The other ones I did, I'm trying to remember now. I saw, and you and I spoke about this, about whether I was going to need an implant or not to get the right result. The other doctors examined me to various degrees. Some were more clear about how they would approach the surgery than others. Right. So there were a couple that offered me a little diagram they drew on me, or they drew on a piece of paper to explain to me where the incisions were going to be and such. None of them, other than you, said to me that I needed to lose weight to get the results I wanted. And you were very blunt about it, and I appreciate it. And you said, you're not going to get the results that you want, and I'm not going to do the surgery until you lose, I think it was 20, 25 pounds I needed to lose prior to the surgery. And you were the only one out of the 6 that said to me, I won't do it.
Can you repeat that, please? I want everyone who's listening to listen again while Eleanor tells you something. So listen one more time. Out of 6 consults.
Out of 6 consults, you were the only one that told me I needed to lose weight to get the results I want. But you went a step further than that too. You said to me, I won't do the surgery. I'm not going to like the outcome, and you're not going to like the outcome.
Do I not want your money? Do I not need my bills? Do I not have shit to do? No, you're not going to have a good outcome. It's not because this is the bullshit that people say. I want you to listen why it makes me so angry. People say, well, I don't need to be a supermodel. Therefore, it's okay, Dr. Rahban, if I don't get an amazing result. I'm okay with a good result. And the answer is there's only one type of result. Excellent. There's no mediocrity. You're going to have a shitty result if you don't lose some weight. I didn't say become a supermodel, thin, weight. I said lose weight so that we can then work on what you have to give you the best possible result on your body with your frame. And the reality is that no one likes to hear that when they come to my office. I am absolutely damn aware that when you come in, your dream, your hope is to not lift a finger. You save the money. You want my help. I'm here to help you. I'll make it happen. And the last thing you want to hear is that you have to participate because you're like, what the I am paying you to help me.
I thought about you for months every time I put something in my mouth or had a glass of wine.
Right. And I said, what are you eating? How are you eating? How often are you eating? Are you drinking after 6? Are you having wine? Don't eat. It's like, come on. And then, so I do that 10 times. I only see one patient back. So I am well aware that the minute I sell that to you, I am losing my patients because many patients can't, won't, are unable to lose the weight, not because they're physically unable. They just don't have the willpower. And they don't return to me because they feel guilty. and they go somewhere and get that mediocre result, and I lose that financial benefit of having had done their surgery without opening my mouth.
But as a patient, that gives me such comfort that you hold yourself to such a standard that you won't compromise on results. And who doesn't want a surgeon like that? That's the surgeon you want.
So
somebody who's going to say, excellence, we're going to do the absolute best we can, and I won't compromise.
And I love the fact that you said, okay, all right, it's going to be a bitch to lose 20 pounds at 50. It's like, oh my God, I got to cut this out. I got to cut that out. Oh my God, I got to get a Pilates instructor. No. You don't need to hire any goddamn trainer. You don't need to get off.
Friends sort of happy with me though. They were like, you're not a lot of fun right now. I said, I know, but I'll be fun after.
You don't need to hire a professional. You don't need to hire Tony Horton to lose 20 pounds. You need to stop putting shit in your mouth. You need to eat differently, eat better, eat more wisely. Weight loss is not due to exercise. It's due to food consumption. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to shift gears. And then we're going to talk about what are the impediments that prevent other people. You and I had this conversation. That people have fear. Fear is a huge component. Desire, shit. 90% of people have a desire to have this done. Why are so small a percentage of them get it done? Because there's a huge fear factor. And we're going to talk about what those components were, because obviously we're able to overcome them. So let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with Plastic Surgery Uncensored. All right, welcome to the second half of Plastic Surgery Uncensored. Eleanor and I are doing a deep dive on the basics. This is just the basics. This is how do I get a successful outcome? And the basics are you start with the desire, then you start with the right timing, then you start by doing research. Now you've selected your surgeon, and then now we want to know how do I get successful? So successful, you were just saying, is through preparation, right? You don't just kind of just show up, especially if you're going to go to somebody in New York or Miami or Texas and you're out of town. So you were saying something about preparedness. What was it that you were talking to me about?
Yeah, I think physical preparedness, as we talked about, I needed to lose some weight. So I think in my mind, I wanted to go into the surgery as, at the most ideal weight, as healthy and as strong as possible. So that was a bit of preparation prior to the surgery. And then there's the logistical preparation for post-surgery. So I was coming to Los Angeles, to Beverly Hills, out of town. So you need to put plans in place. I decided to stay in a hotel. So booking your hotel and then putting your supports in place. Who's coming with you and how are you going to manage the aspects of your life that need to be managed while you have, 2 weeks out of town.
Yeah. So basic is just like anything else. You want to be successful, you got to have a plan of attack. Plastic surgery is no different. You have to have your recovery plan in mind. Who's going to help you, how they're going to help you, etc. Now, one of the things that you said to me, and this resonated with me, and we talked about it right before the break, is all these people want to get plastic surgery done, yet only a fraction of them get done. Now, one component is money. I just can't afford it. That I understand. I will always respect it. That's actually absolutely the right answer. I can't afford it, meaning the way I want, because you can always afford it. You go to Mexico and it's $5. I can't afford it, therefore I won't do it. Awesome, high five, right thing to do. The second is I'm afraid. I want it. I'm a good candidate, but I'm scared. So what are people scared about? You said they were scared about pain, the scars, and the downtime. Is that correct? Is that what
Absolutely.
You said? All right. So let's address them. Let's address them, because if you had to say the truth, I think you had said to me that you were like pleasantly, like everyone says after the fact, like it wasn't that bad. It just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Is that right?
Absolutely. From start to finish, I felt very comfortable with your anesthesiologist. When I woke up from surgery, I was comfortable. And then, as you suggest in your office, that you have a nursing care for the first 24 hours, whether that's at your Airbnb or at your hotel. So I did that, but my pain was managed.
Right.
I was sleepy.
So that's very important. People are afraid of pain. 2 reasons. 1, because the word on the street, the general word on the street, is plastic surgery, abdominoplasty, breast surgery, whatever, unbearable. And that is farthest from the truth. I have had 1,000 patients, some on the podcast, all in the reviews. Pain was manageable, right? Pain was manageable. Is it nothing? Of course not. But it wasn't the death, oh my God, I'm dying here. So you said that pain was manageable, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think there was just sort of discomfort afterwards. You have bandages and a binder and, getting in and out of bed to use the bathroom, that sort of thing. You're uncomfortable and sort of lying in one spot in the bed. But the pain is absolutely manageable. And I think as a woman too, especially if you've had children, this is easier.
Right. So I haven't had children, but I have 1,000 patients who have had children. And over and over and over and over and over again, they tell me, if you had a C-section or vaginal delivery, this is better. And they write it over. And we had a podcast on C-section versus time. So you'll be fine. It's a week of discomfort, as you mentioned, and then you move on. The next is scars. People are afraid. I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to look like Frankenstein. Then my husband or my life partner or myself, I'm going to be disgusted at looking at myself in the mirror. So doesn't have to. It certainly could be that way. There are thousands of horror stories where the scars open up and they're nasty and they're keloid, but it doesn't have to be. Eleanor, how are your scars?
My scars are beautiful. I had 9 months post-op and they're thin and they're fading. They're gorgeous. I went, Dr. Rahban, after my mommy makeover with you. I had a 6 weeks later. I had my regular checkup with my OBGYN, my annual checkup. And she had a good look at my scars. She's like, this is beautiful. When did you have these done? So she admired my scars. And although I didn't have implants, I think she was surprised by the symmetry and the feel of my breasts. She thought I had saline. Implants.
That's a great compliment.
She was shocked.
It's a great compliment when your OBGYN, who sees 5 million women on a regular basis, many of which have had abdominoplasties or breast augs or breast lifts, at 6 weeks, which you're barely even cooked, says to you, wow, Eleanor, you look spectacular. You don't have an implant? Oh my God, those scars, that's such a great feeling, both as a patient and as a physician. That's a great, great honor. And it's from pride. It's giving a shit. There's no magic. I don't have some special tool. I just put so much time into you and every patient. And it's just like anything else. Tapestry, whether you're painting a mural, whatever the hell, cooking a dinner, it's all about the time exchange for outcomes. So pain, manageable. Scars, outstanding. And the last part is downtime. And so they're always afraid. And I've had thousands of moms tell me this. It's time to be selfish. Did you hear the words I just said? It sounds awful, but it's so true. My kids, my husband, it's time to be selfish. This is purely for you. Yes, indirectly, it's for everybody because you're a better mom, a better wife, and all those things. But you can actually say it. It's time to be selfish. This is something that's carved out specifically and only for you. 2 weeks, it's not a big deal. I didn't ask you to take 6 months off on sabbatical and go to Tibet and zen out. 2 damn weeks. 2 weeks. How much time did you have to take out of your life, Eleanor?
Yeah, 2 weeks in Los Angeles. But I think also, Dr. Rahban, it's how you think about that time. If you say, I'm going to do this for me, I'm improving myself, I'm taking care of myself, you're uncomfortable and you're recovering from surgery, but you can watch some TV, you can chat with your friends on the phone. It's really, you rarely, especially as a mom, get these sort of pockets of time where you're able to just focus on yourself and relax a little bit and do things you normally don't have time to do.
It's beautiful. Like you said,
yeah.
It's like, it's me time. And you're absolutely right. It's not a vacation, but it can have a vacation concept, which is, there's been a few movies that I keep wanting to watch. There's books on tape that I've wanted to listen to. Whatever. You can do so many things because you have nowhere to go and you're just sitting tight. And it can be a good experience. if you make it. And it's the whole idea of the way you perceive it. And I think the reality is that many of the things that inhibit people from making that journey happen are definitely surmountable. Of course, again, finances being set aside, everything else I think is within reason. Because while the majority, and I underscore, the majority of outcomes out there are at best average to bad, there are still a handful of excellent surgeons who exist in this country who can deliver you excellent results so that you can have an excellent outcome. So you should never settle for mediocrity. Never, not your surgeon nor the patient. We don't need to settle for mediocrity. You're not in Congo. You have access to incredible healthcare. And so I think anything other than outstanding is a shame. And good for you for expecting and demanding that for yourself. That is where it starts. I won't accept anything other than the best. So you seeked it out, you manifested it, and now you own it. And 9 months out, how do you feel?
I couldn't be happier. I'm thrilled. My results are beautiful. I can wear clothes I wasn't able to wear before, a bikini, or I wear a crop top and I go to yoga or bar class. I feel amazing. I feel better than I did, when I was a teenager, to be honest with you. And I think the other thing, it just sort of pops in my head, Dr. Rahban, I think women are worried about how their belly button is going to look afterwards and that someone's going to know. But I have a perfect little belly button. I mean, it's gorgeous. And it's thrilled with my results.
Yeah. So the idea, what is the idea? The idea is you take this, you do it, and then you do exactly what you said. Go live a better quality of life. Better quality is I wear clothes I'm just envious I couldn't wear. The idea or the word bikini to many moms is just like, a bikini? Are you kidding me? I'd never be caught dead in a bikini. The idea that you're going to yoga and fit classes after your muscles have been torn apart by a baby. So you are saying all the words that people want to live that just can't. So that is the proof in the pudding, which is I feel and I behave excellent. So very, very happy. Thank you so much for participating. Every time a patient comes on a show, we understand that it puts them in a slightly vulnerable place. Without sharing, nobody learns. You didn't get here because you were in a vacuum. Somebody helped you and you're now helping someone else. So we appreciate you being on the show. So as always, if you're listening to the show and you love it, make sure you share this show with people you care about. You never know when they're going to go do something. Next thing you know, oh my God, my friend ended up in, TJ. You want to make sure they listen to the show. And if you love the show because it's just entertaining, write something nice. Go share it online. Write us a review. People just spend their time writing nasty shit. Why don't you write something positive? We'd really be grateful, especially the people who are behind the scenes putting the show together. So once again, thank you, Eleanor. And as always, guys, that's a wrap. We look forward to talking and hearing you next week on Plastic Surgery Uncensored.